Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. 99.5 FM, The Jag, a spectacular morning. If you want to watch, if you want to look in the studio and see what's happening, you can go to the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page and look at me. You can also look at Angelo of Mobile Bay Coins. I'm going to be at Mobile Bay Coins later today, 2204 Government Street. We have, during the commercial breaks, Angelo has been letting me play with his kukri. So that's what you could see during the commercial breaks, is me playing with his kukri. And we've talked a lot already this morning about this situation with Jeff Sessions. And yet another tweet, if you've not been paying attention to what has been going on this morning, the president has once again tweeted about Jeff Sessions, this time calling him very weak on Hillary Clinton, prosecuting Hillary Clinton. And I've mentioned this several times, that there was one businessman in town that over the weekend was floating what he called it a conspiracy theory, thinking that this was all some kind of grand strategy, that the president was attacking Jeff Sessions on purpose to create some kind of dynamic. And the more the president attacks him, the less likely I am to believe. It just really looks like he wants Jeff Sessions to quit so that he himself doesn't have to fire him.
I think a lot of people would like to believe that it's the other way.
I would like to believe it.
Well, I would.
I would.
I have a lot of respect for Jeff Sessions. You know, he's very conservative. He's very clear cut in his direction and his goals. I mean, he's somebody that, I mean, I think he's perfect for the role, perfect for that position.
Well, the president doesn't think so, obviously. And so, this may tie into when the president was elected. A lot of people encouraged him to get people with experience around him,
right,
in government. But it looks like as the days go by, he would rather not have anybody around that has been around before. You know what I mean?
Lots of folks are dropping.
Well, and who can he trust with all the leaks that are going on,
right, from
the West Wing, from the intelligence community? This may be an ongoing process of him deciding he wants to, for as long as he's in office, to surround himself with other people from his world and
right,
not the D.C. world.
And I can see and respect some of that, but at the same time, you know, Jeff Sessions has supported him from the very beginning.
Right.
You know, we saw that here in Mobile, and so from this entire process, you'd think that they would have sat down and had multiple conversations together and said, "Look, here's what we need to do. Are you with me or not?"
Well, it's not looking good. This morning, another tweet about Jeff Sessions, and then stories out about the president trying to find possible replacements. So, unfortunately for Jeff Sessions, not looking good for him. Traffic and weather together, and then more show.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
Well, we have picked up a couple of accidents this morning, one of them on Moffett Road at Sheldon Beach and the East I-65 Service Road just north of Moffett. Well, we haven't had much of this morning or any particularly big interstate problems. The Bayway has been in good shape for you Eastern Shore drivers crossing over towards the Wallace Tunnel and into downtown Mobile. Causeway and the Bankhead in good shape as well. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Another tropical day along the Gulf Coast. High temperatures will top out in the upper 80s. We are going to have about a 60% chance of storms for today. Keep the umbrella close. Lows tonight will be in the 70s. And Wednesday, we're going to drop it down to a 40% chance of wet weather. Highs soar back into the 90s. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
This report is brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Church, asking you to join me in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS through the TJ Martell Foundation. Your support helps facilitate cutting-edge research that will lead to more effective treatments and save more lives. Visit tjmartell.org to learn about music's promise for a cure.
This morning at 9, Ask the Expert. Then Rush at 11. Right now, it's Uncle Henry on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here with Angelo. I'm going to be at Mobile Bay Coins today from 9 to 10. So let's say that let's say that there's something to these stories and that Jeff Sessions is being forced out, that the president's either going to ask him to resign or he's going to resign or something like that. What would be the next job for Jeff Sessions? Should he retire? Should he come back to Alabama and run for governor?
That would be great.
In 2018, JeffSessionsForGovernor.com. Or SessionsForGovernor.com. Or should he become a Fox News contributor? And just be on the different Fox shows so that he can offer his views on Fox. What do you think would be the good job for Jeff Sessions?
I'd like to see him run for governor. I really would.
Do people in Alabama continue to really enjoy President Trump? So if he is fired by the president or if he resigns from that job, do you think Alabamians cut Jeff Sessions some slack? Do they take one? Do you, the Alabamian, listening to the show, do you take sides in this dispute? Do you like both men despite their differences? I don't know how all this works. And people are so polarized. I don't know if people now are upset at one of those two men or if they still like both of them, despite the differences.
I think right now you can look at what's going on and you can still like both of them. They're having a difference of opinion on several things, obviously. Hence the stress and the drama and the tweeting that's going on. But I think it's not to such a level that you have to pick a side and shun the other side. It's not like picking a sports team where that person is automatically and immediately your opponent.
Right. Now, you said you wished he would run for governor, but that would be what a letdown. No offense to the office of governor, but it doesn't look like a good job. Now, yeah, you do get to fly around. Governor Dr. Bentley showed that you can use the plane as a way of commuting.
Use the plane, use the beach house. I mean,
Right.
It sounds like a pretty nice
I
gig.
don't know, though. Aside from that, the state doesn't have enough money to do all the things that the taxpayers want done. Just, it may be that contributor to Fox might be the better job.
But he could be the governor, do a Bentley there and just fly around and have a good time for a couple of years. It's like an extended vacation, and the state of Alabama pays for it. I'm not condoning that whatsoever. Truly not.
You're just
condoning
putting it
that.
out. You're just putting it out there.
It worked for the LoveGov.
All right. Well, there's something. I wonder if he is thinking about his next move. Of course, last week he said he would not resign, and now it's looking more like there's a strong encouragement to resign.
Oh, yeah.
Coming from President Trump. All right, look, we're going to continue. There's controversy. The new amusement park and people of larger physical carriage. There's some kind of a sensitivity issue over people of larger carriage, and we're going to get into that. And that, unfortunately, statistically, it's likely that you, the listener, are a very large person, just looking at the stats. So we'll get into this when we come back on the Uncle Henry Show, News Radio 710, WNTM 99.5 FM, The Jag. During the commercial break on Facebook, I will be playing with the kukri. And here we are on Facebook. Angela, can I play with your kukri again?
Should I unsnap it, or do you want to handle the unsnapping there?
I'll handle the unsnapping of the kukri. Now, if you weren't watching earlier, Angela brought his Nepalese Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Nepalese Himalayan kukri.
As opposed to Nepalese, which would be southern Florida.
He brought his
One more snap. There you go.
He brought his kukri that needs several snaps because it's very, you got to be very careful.
And the curvature of that blade makes it a little challenging to have a sheath for it.
It is a wonderful, I love the name of it because it sounds like a Disney, like a fuzzy little Disney character. The Adventures of Kukri. And Kukri would be like a little fuzzy creature in a Disney movie, but it's not a little fuzzy Disney creature. It is something that's very menacing. That this is what Conan would eat steak with if he were cutting his steak. I love the kukri and what you could do. Now, this, what you said, was originally a farming implement turned into a war
implement. A weapon. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have these available at Mobile Bay Coins?
I have a couple of those at the shop, and I can always get more. We have that catalog there of items that's manufactured by Cold Steel. That's the manufacturer. And so you can look at the kukri there at the shop. You can look at the catalog and look at all of the different Cold Steel items, look at the Opinels. And if we don't have it in stock, we can order it in. Usually it takes about a week for those items to arrive, but we usually have some great prices on them.
This is a wonderful item. It really
Under
is.
$40 too.
Oh, how much?
Under $40.
Really?
Less than $40. Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes. Yes. I'm not going to charge you more.
Why don't they have these at big box stores then? Because this looks, if it's at that kind of a price point, you would think that everybody would have one.
They probably could. I'm glad they don't, because I love having interesting and unusual items there at the shop. And Cold Steel really does make a quality product. Got a number of Cold Steel items that I've picked up over the years, and they make good stuff.
This is really, I love the kukri. What a hit.
Well, I knew when I saw that, and they were actually running them on sale, which is part of the reason I bought a few of them. I figured you would love seeing that again. We brought one in a while back, which was more of a tourist's version of the kukri.
What does that mean?
It's a souvenir piece. Somebody went over to Nepal or went over to that area of the world and said, "Oh, it's a kukri. I want to have one." And so the original one I brought in is not nearly as good a quality as that. More of a souvenir than a defensive weapon.
What would a tourist do in Nepal?
Hike, climb the Himalayas.
Okay.
Those are, look at a yak. They have yaks in Nepal, don't they?
Has a yak ever has anybody ever had to kukri a yak?
I'm sure there's been kukris used on yaks at some point in time.
All right.
I'm just not sure what all the yak is used for, yak milk and fur, but I'm sure they use it for a meat source as well.
All right, now see, this is what, you're not getting this on other talk shows. They're talking about President Trump. They're not talking about yak. What do you use a yak for? This is what we do on this show.
That's the quote of the day, Uncle Henry.
That's what we do on the Uncle Henry Show. There's always an effort to get into the that which is not discussed by other sane individuals. Bert is waiting. We're going to get to Bert when we go back on the radio, if he can hold. He's going to talk to us about Jefferson Sessions and this whole situation. And then we'll get into the OA angering people, very large people.
I had a thought about that. When they open up the shopping area, do they want to have a big and tall store so the people that can't ride can go do something? Or do they not want to have one because it's a little insulting? That is,
it's an incendiary topic.
And it opens up so many avenues here, so many directions to go. And how are you going to choose to be offended?
It is, people want to be offended.
Right.
People want to be offended.
They're looking for an option.
All right, stand by. We go back to radio after the weather.
Change the future of one person in a single moment. Begin the change at unbound.org.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Our torrential potential today at 60%. Due to the rain, cooled air, and additional cloud cover, our highs today will top in the upper 80s, lows tonight in the 70s, and then for Wednesday, a 40% chance of storms. Late week, we're going to have more heat and less in the way of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. Email address, unclehenry@gmail.com. Here with Angelo. Going to be at Mobile Bay Coins today from 9 to 10 in Midtown Mobile. We're going to talk about this OWA controversy, but first, Bert is with the Bert. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Henry and Angelo.
Good morning, sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but not long after he was elected, didn't Trump say that he wasn't going to prosecute Hillary after all?
Oh, he said that, but yes, you're right.
So I don't know why he's making a fuss over it now. It seems like that he and Sessions would be on the same page about all this, and I don't know why Sessions wouldn't. But I'm hopeful that this really is theater and that Sessions isn't really on his way out, because I think that Trump would lose some support in Alabama if he did that to Sessions. I really think that. There were a lot of Alabamians that were in Sessions' corner before Trump ever ran as a Republican. And
Well,
I think some people would go, these never Trumpers might be right.
Well, I don't know. There have been several people that have called this week that like Jeff Sessions but agree with the president. They think that Jeff Sessions never should have recused himself. So you do have people that still like both guys but agree with the president.
Well, Glenn Beck said that the optics probably wouldn't be all that good if we prosecuted Hillary, because it would make us look like Banana Republic type of thing. But there were some crimes that I think should be prosecuted.
Well,
I don't think they should get away with it.
The optics never look good when your elected officials have to be prosecuted.
That is true.
That's true. Hey, could I share a real quick item with Angelo? I'm reading this novel that's set in Virginia just before the American.
Hello?
Yeah, are you still there? Can
Yes,
you hear me?
the novel, we're very excited about this. The novel is set when?
Yeah, just before the American.
Yeah, you're cutting out on the exact same spot every time. Try that one more time.
Okay, there's about to be a sword fight, and somebody says, "Watch out for that guy. He was trained by Angelo." So, could you train somebody in fencing?
I could not. Yeah, I don't fence. I never have. I've thought about taking fencing classes. There actually is a Mobile fencing club here in town.
Angelo and I are both friends with a man that fences. He's an adult male that fences as his recreation, which I know sounds very unusual, but he is in good physical condition and likes to get involved in sword play. So just let us know, and we can make the connection for you, and you can learn about modern-day sword fighting. Thank you, Bert, for your phone call to the Uncle Henry Show. Now, there's been this controversy over the amusement park, OWA, that opened in Foley, and some weight restrictions that they put on their website. They say the safety restrictions for their rides were provided by the ride manufacturer to ensure the safety of the guests and the employees. And they put up specific weight restrictions. Now, they've pulled these off their website by now, so you can't go read them now. But the original was that all guests had to be 225 pounds or under, with a 40-inch waist or smaller, 52-inch chest or smaller. But that's for all guests. But then they specifically mentioned females, saying that females had to be 200 pounds or lighter. And if you had a size 18 or larger, you couldn't ride. And people were upset. People are very sensitive about their weight and their dress size.
I'm sorry. I know that I'm not a small guy. I'm not skinny. But you're not going to offend me by saying something.
The overbeast population is very angry.
I think you're supposed to say obese, not overbeast. I may be wrong.
You are. There are people. We've unfortunately gotten to a point in the country where people have gone past obesity and gone into overbesity. And so there's a lot of very sensitive people about their size. And so OWA apologized for the safety requirements on the roller coaster. But you You and I and Ariel talked about this earlier.
I'm trying to bite my tongue.
It is difficult to think that in modern times that you would have a ride that people needed to be under 225, because there are so many people, unfortunately, in modern, well, not just America, but the world,
Right.
that are now
Of
much bigger.
Of larger stature.
Yes. Larger
Right.
stature.
People are bigger and heavier than they were. And like you mentioned, you can walk into a place. I mean, I went into one of the big box stores the other day, early mornings, and I walked through the front area of the store, and out of the 20 or 30 people that I saw there, I was the smallest person in the area. And that's shocking. So none of those people would have been able to ride any of the rides there, or the rides in question, I guess, there at OWA. So my first thought was, why in the heck would you put rides out there that are going to restrict the ability, your ability to make money off of this?
Well, I guess the next thing that needs to be investigated are, what are the requirements around the country? Are we just being too sensitive here on the Gulf Coast? Are the overbeasts being too sensitive when these restrictions might be the same all around the land? I wouldn't know, because I haven't gone to try and ride roller coasters in many, many years. All right, more to come. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching on Facebook. The Uncle Henry Show proceeds.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. McDonald's second quarter earnings, revenue, and U.S. sales beat estimates. U.S. comparable sales rose 3.9%. Shares are cooking up gains this morning, rising 2% before the opening bell. 3M issued a forecast for earnings per share for the full year, and the guidance midpoint missed the average analyst estimate. Earnings and net sales in the second quarter also missed projections. General Motors is higher after beating quarterly estimates as it focused on selling more profitable pickups and SUVs and less on discounted sales to rental car companies. And after a series of setbacks and forecast reductions, Caterpillar is finally able to paint a rosier picture on the global outlook. The company projected 2017 sales in the range of $42 billion to $44 billion, with a midpoint of $43 billion, and that is ahead of analyst estimates. It would also mark the first increase in annual revenue since 2012. Caterpillar.
And here we are on Facebook. Is there anything you brought in we haven't shown?
One last knife, Uncle Henry.
Oh, you do have an additional knife. All right, now this is lighter than it looks.
It is.
And it's Gerbered.
It is a Gerber knife. It was actually designed by two World War II veterans.
And it's got a signature on it. What is that?
That's Rex Applegate and Colonel Fairbairn, because they designed that knife. They actually have designed that style of knife, and it's been manufactured by several different designers over time. There's some fixed blade versions of that. There's several Gerber versions of that. And that actually has two locking mechanisms on it. That little lever there on the back side near where your thumb was, you click that up, and that's a secondary lock to keep it locked up in place.
All right, and this has one part of the blade there's just a little bit of it serrated, and that helps it avoid certain legal situations?
Correct. Yeah, if it's serrated, then it can be considered a survival knife. If it's non-serrated, then it's just a plain old dagger, and people get offended, get scared by that.
So you need to, if you're going to make your own knife, you need to put some serrated part on it so that it can be considered a survival item.
There you go. And also people that don't do well sharpening knives, like serrations, because you can saw through ropes and things like that. You can cut things with a serrated knife, even as the knife gets dull, it still works fairly well.
This is a great knife.
It is.
This really is.
They make that in two sizes. That's the covert, and then they have a mini covert, which is a little smaller.
Okay. A beautiful knife. You can get these items through Angelo at Mobile Bay Coins. He's a knife guy. He is a knife guy. All right. And again, going to be at Mobile Bay Coins coming up in just a little while at 9 o'clock. Let's see. Would you like to look at some news from around the country?
Sure.
Let's see. I've got some stories that I have not heard through our news service, let's see, in New York, there's a bar limiting the drinks you can order if you're a parent with your kids at the restaurant.
Really?
Melissa Gravel, the general manager of Peddlers in Clifton Park, is enforcing a one-drink limit for parents who are designated drivers. She says she loves children, and it's all about keeping them safe. Waitresses explain the policy before parents order. If they don't like it, they're asked to leave. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio, New York.
All right, well, that would be, I'd like to watch the hidden camera on that.
I wonder, are they going to make the waitresses start wearing body cams for that one? I can see that one be very interesting.
Here's another story from around the globe. A man in Northern Ireland says the no dog policy in grocery stores in Northern Ireland does not apply to his sheep.
He drew a crowd of onlookers when he walked his pet sheep on a leash through the aisles at his local store. He wasn't worried about the no dog policy and even told his wife, quote, "It said no dogs, so I'll be dead on, love." He was later escorted out by store employees. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, look, just as if you're looking to get international acclaim, all you've got to do is take a sheep into a store with you, and it'll get picked up by the news agencies.
And was that his purpose? Was that his point in all of this? Because
I
first
guess
of all,
it worked.
Why else would you take your sheep grocery shopping with you?
Here's another story, another animal story from the same reporter, Mark Mayfield. He says the mayor of Whitney Point, New York, the mayor of Whitney Point, New York, is warning residents about an alligator on the loose.
In a Facebook post, the mayor said officials from the Department of Environmental Conservation believe reports about the gator are true. He added that officials think the alligator used to be somebody's pet who was set free in the last month. Alligator sightings in the village started on Saturday night. Officers are attempting to track and capture the creature. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
In Lower Alabama, we're concerned when an alligator's on the loose, but imagine the people of Whitney, New York.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only way they've made the national news in how long? Forever?
An alligator on the loose. There. Sorry, I hope I haven't driven you away from our Facebook broadcast. Sometimes I see these stories and want to know what they're about.
And I did do a little research online very briefly on that other commentary about OWA.
Yes.
And I found another amusement park, and their comment is this: rides may not accommodate guests of larger size. Okay. That is their online restriction. That whole bunch of restrictions on kids, the kids have to be taller than this height, more than this weight, and so on. But for the big people, they just said guests of larger size may not work on this ride.
Well, it stands to reason, of course. In defense of OWA, sometimes you forget how sensitive people are about these things. You know what I mean?
I don't get why people are that sensitive about it. I'm sorry. I just, it's my body. It's the way I am. I deal with it.
Okay,
I'm sorry, but that's the case.
I wasn't recording that, but it was recorded on Facebook, so we will be able to isolate Angelo talking about his comfort with his body. All right, stand by. We're about to go back on the radio.
Please listen to an important clinical research opportunity. Are you 50 years or older and have been hospitalized recently or plan to be soon? Doctors are looking for volunteers for a research study evaluating an investigational vaccine designed to protect against Clostridium difficile, or C. diff, bacteria that can cause frequent diarrhea, abdominal pain, and inflammation of the colon, which, when severe, can be life-threatening. Patients with increased exposure to healthcare facilities and those who have taken antibiotics are at a higher risk of getting sick. If you have had multiple visits to the emergency room, frequent visits to the doctor, or hospitalizations of at least 2 nights in the last year, you may qualify. To learn more about this study and to see if you qualify, visit clovertrial.com or call 1-877-296-9458. That's www.clovertrial.com or 1-877-296-9458.
Your home for traffic and weather on the 9s every morning. This is News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, News Radio 710, WNTM 99.5 FM, The Jag. We've arrived at the Daily Reagan. The Daily Reagan, a presentation of SAD Healthcare, SAAD, sadhealthcare.com.
When John Kennedy was running for president in 1960, he said that his church would not dictate his presidency any more than he would speak for his church. Just so, and proper. But John Kennedy was speaking in an America in which the role of religion, and by that I mean the role of all churches, was secure. Abortion was not a political issue. Prayer was not a political issue. The right of church schools to operate was not a political issue. And it was broadly acknowledged that religious leaders had a right and a duty to speak out on the issues of the day. They held a place of respect, and a politician who spoke to or of them with a lack of respect would not long survive in the political arena. It was acknowledged then that religion held a special place, occupied a special territory in the hearts of the citizenry. The climate has changed greatly since then, and since it has, it logically follows that religion needs defenders against those who care only for the interests of the state.
The Daily Reagan, a presentation of SAD Healthcare, SAAD, sadhealthcare.com. Uncle Henry Show. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, we're going to talk to Darwin of Local 15 about the stories he's covering today. The OA thing, we'll have to get into that with Darwin.
Oh, of course.
So we have Alan with us. And by the way, Angelo's here. Mobile Bay Coins going to be at Mobile Bay Coins today from 9 to 10 for Ask the Expert. Let's talk to Alan. Good morning, Alan.
Hey, good morning, Uncle. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hey, I was just wondering about what you think about this pushing against Jeff Sessions by Trump. It seemed like Trump, maybe those investigations are getting kind of close to home for him. Like he wants a distraction with bringing up a Hillary Clinton investigation. And what would that be for? Why would they investigate Hillary?
Well, you know the answer of that, of course. That's a silly question to anybody listening to this radio station. We all lived through why the investigation of Hillary and listened to it for month after month after month about the surveys. So you know the answer to that, of course. In fact, this whole Jeff Sessions thing, I'm guessing that just as each day goes by, that there are more hearings and there are more leaks from the special counsel revealing what the special counsel is looking into. It just has to drive the president nuts on a daily basis.
Sure.
And that's probably why he's whatever he's hearing in these leaks about what the special counsel is looking into are driving him to want a new attorney general. He's mad at Jeff Sessions for recusing himself. And he may also want to find somebody that will back him in the firing of the special counsel.
Very true.
So that's that.
From the Dean McCrary Mazda Traffic Center.
We have picked up a significant accident now in Fort Walton Beach. The northbound lanes of Martin Luther King are blocked at Florence due to a major accident there. No big problems on I-10 for those of you coming across the Bayway this morning. And the Mobile Bay Ferry System will be running 2 ferries today, accepting trailers and RVs 25 feet and under. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by Unbound.org. There's a girl in El Salvador who dreams of becoming an engineer. There's an elder in Uganda who dreams of having a community to call his own. No two dreams are the same. Help one person achieve theirs at Unbound.org.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Another tropical day along the Gulf Coast. High temperatures will top out in the upper 80s. We are going to have about a 60% chance of storms for today. Keep the umbrella close. Lows tonight will be in the 70s. And Wednesday, we're going to drop it down to a 40% chance of wet weather. Highs soar back into the 90s. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
This report is brought to you by Compassion International. Every child is born with talents, hopes, and dreams, but poverty will steal those dreams. You can help a child find hope when you become their sponsor with Compassion International. Give a child a chance to dream again. Find out how at compassion.com/radio.
Traffic updates every 10 minutes on the 9s every morning. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk to Darwin, Local 15. There's a lot to ask him about today. We'll have to ask him about the what I find to be an odd controversy over the OWA ride restrictions, where people were upset because people of larger carriage were singled out, especially women, that if you wear a size 18 dress or over, you may not want to go on some of those rides for safety purposes. Now, Angelo, wouldn't you think that safety regulations would be the same all over the land, basically?
I'm sure that basic regulations are the same, like ride to like ride. So if you look at a high-intensity ride, like a roller coaster or something like that, I'm sure they have to be restrictive. I mean, engineering is engineering. You can't put too much weight on a bridge or a roller coaster without having a negative consequence. But I did some research while we were off the air on that topic, and one of the things I thought was interesting is in another amusement park, their high-intensity rides, which is, I guess, what they call the roller coasters and things like that, their rule said, ride may not accommodate guests of larger size. And if you want to know more details, you have to download a PDF document with the specifics.
Okay. All right, well, unfortunately, Americans, not just Americans, the world is getting larger and larger physically. I guess the roller coaster manufacturers are going to need to continue to manufacture roller coasters that can handle the size 20, size 25 dress, or whatever the weight restrictions may be. But this, I'm really
beef it up for beefier people, right?
I guess so. I'm now interested about what are the restrictions, because I've heard it. You hear about restrictions on height, what your height ought to be,
right? Usually that's a minimum, though, for kids.
Right.
But and again, most of the time when you were going to an amusement park, you were a child or young adult going there to ride the rides and do things. I never really thought about an amusement park as being a place for older adults to go, larger, heavy. I always think of it for kids. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not. No, you're not. Let's see. The L.A. Times. Here's a headline from the L.A. Times. Roller coasters, one-size seats pose problems at theme parks.
What?
Because roller coasters are designed for riders with certain body types, theme parks around the country grapple with how to serve those who don't fit into the seat. There were news stories back in 2013 of a woman who fell to her death from a Texas roller coaster, and the news reports suggest that her girth may have played a role in the problem. So this has been a topic in the theme park industry.
Well, sure.
That people are getting bigger, and how do we deal with this?
So what are you going to do? You're going to make a ride that only fits really, really big people, and if you're too skinny, you have to put on a fat suit to get on the ride?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm being sarcastic here, but at the same time, come on. People are in different sizes and shapes, and not everything fits every person. I don't walk into the store at the mall and grab the first thing off the rack and say, this is going to fit me perfect. Some things you have to try on or look for your size. And they can't make a ride out of metal, out of steel, and make it flexible. Doesn't work that way.
There are some amusement parks in the country that have installed sample seats so that passengers can see if they fit in it before they get in line.
Oh, my Lord.
Today at 2, Sean Hannity.
How much is a condom?
T. Can we talk about health care?
Options.
There we go.
This size.
Oh, boy.
This flavor.
News Radio 710, WNTM.
Smart Home America is a nonprofit set up to help you save money by learning just how to buy the right homeowner's insurance, how to fortify your house, how to be more energy efficient, and more. Learn at smarthomeamerica.org.
Listen to Mo Brooks, a never-Trump politician personally attacking Donald Trump.
I don't think you can trust Donald Trump with anything he says. Donald Trump is the likely loser in that he has alienated so many people in Republican Party ranks through his callous insults. Donald Trump, one candidate that is so belittling, so insulting. I was just asked if I'm going to endorse Donald Trump after things unfold with Donald Trump having this so-called insurmountable lead. And I said, no, I'm not. Donald Trump voters, 12 to 18 months from now, they're going to regret their votes for Donald Trump.
A month before the election, Talk Radio asked Mo Brooks if he was voting for Trump. Brooks responded, I didn't say that.
That means you're going to vote for Donald Trump.
I didn't say that.
Days before the election, Mo Brooks even called Donald Trump evil. Brooks called our president evil. 35-year career politician Mo Brooks, a never-Trump Washington insider. Paid for by Strange for Senate.
I'm Luther Strange, candidate for U.S. Senate. I approve this message.
If you've been waiting to buy a new RV, now is the time to go get one at RVs Unlimited. Here's Jeremy and Ed Strickler.
It is time for the 2018s already in the RV industry. They come out a little sooner than the cars do in the fall, so the 17s have to go. And we would love to find them a good home, and we are offering a 25% discount on all the remaining 17 models on the lot. So it's the best savings of the year right now going on.
Some as much as 40% off.
Yeah, and 25% is the starting point. We have some as much as 40% off.
So great deals on new RVs and on pre-owned RVs at RVs Unlimited in Robertsdale. Remember, they don't play games with you. There's no haggling at RVs Unlimited, and they don't tack on hidden dealer fees at the end of the transaction. These are people that make customer service a specialty. RVs Unlimited in Robertsdale. You'll find out more information online at rvsunlimited.com. I'm Uncle Henry, a customer of Heads Heating and Air Conditioning. I've used them for maintenance and for when my old system went out on me. Last year, I asked them to turn to the experts, Carrier, and replace my old natural gas furnace with a Carrier 95% high-efficiency unit. And so I had a cozy, warm home last winter with lower heating bills, and I'm looking forward to a cool home this summer with that new system. Carrier, high-efficiency natural gas, and Heads Heating and Air Conditioning make a great team. Did you know they've got financing available at 0% interest for up to 60 months? You can't beat 0% on a new system. What a great combo. Carrier, natural gas, Heads Heating and Air Conditioning, and financing at 0% interest for up to 60 months. So turn to the experts, Carrier, and call Heads Heating and Air Conditioning. The number is 251-653-7873. 251-653-7873. See if you qualify for that great deal on 0% interest.
It's Heating and Air Conditioning, where three heads are better than one.
Hey guys, I'm Jillian Michaels, and you can catch my irreverent, super fun, crazy, and wild podcast. It's free on iHeartRadio right now. All the best info on career advice, dating, life lessons, health, fitness, nutrition. Search for Jillian Michaels on iHeartRadio.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
We have picked up a significant accident now in Fort Walton Beach. The northbound lanes of Martin Luther King are blocked at Florence due to a major accident there. No big problems on I-10 for those of you coming across the Bayway this morning. And the Mobile Bay Ferry System will be running 2 ferries today, accepting trailers and RVs 25 feet and under. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Church, asking you to join me in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS through the T.J. Martell Foundation. Your support helps facilitate cutting-edge research that will lead to more effective treatments and save more lives. Visit tjmartell.org to learn about music's promise for a cure.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Tuesday to you, everybody. Our torrential potential today at 60%. Due to the rain, cooled air, and additional cloud cover, our highs today will top in the upper 80s, lows tonight in the 70s, and then for Wednesday, a 40% chance of storms. Late week, we're going to have more heat and less in the way of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
News? Check. Traffic and weather? Check. Opinions? Check. This is the Uncle Henry Show, only on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. We have news from Fox, news from Local 15 coming up in about 10 minutes here with Angelo. And Darwin's with us from Local 15. Darwin, good morning.
Had me dancing at my desk this morning, Uncle Henry.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, I have to admit I'm a little bit surprised, Darwin, that there, and I guess I shouldn't be, but I was surprised that there was some kind of a controversy over weight restrictions for some of the rides at the OA. I mean, how big of a controversy did this turn out to be?
Well, let's start out by saying that when OA installed these rides, the rides also came with kind of an owner's manual that said to safely ride this ride, you have to be this size, or you shouldn't be over that size, or this is what we recommend. And so they just put that out there online, and I guess when you get on the rides. However, some people did not care for those descriptions. I guess I should tell you what the descriptions are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. OA states guests of certain body proportions may not be accommodated on certain rides, including, but not limited to, guests exceeding 6'2" tall, which I don't have to worry about because I'm not that tall, or 225 pounds, as well as those who have a 40-inch waistline, a 52-inch chest, or females who exceed 200 pounds or wear a size 18 or larger. And I realize that probably eliminates a lot of listeners out there from riding on the ride.
Right, and this so this boils down to, I guess, people getting their feelings hurt about this. Is that what this is? Because
any time you are part of a part of society that is excluded from something that other people are welcomed at, you do get some disappointment, and and some of these things may be well out of your control. I mean, you can't control how tall you are, and a lot of times control how it may be your girth. You can or you can't. Some people can, some people can't. And some people feel like, well, if I'm going to go pay my money, I should be able to be accommodated because here I am. Well, we have this whole argument with airline seats, too, when it comes to people that may be more ample than others.
Right.
So, and sometimes it's just a physical thing. I am not an expert at this, but when you look at some of these rides, sometimes if safety is important, they're saying you could get hurt if you get on this ride, then they kind of have to tell you that. Now, what you do from that point on, I don't know if they keep you from getting on it or if they just say, okay, you're riding at your own risk. What do you think?
Well, Angelo and I, Angelo's here with me in studio today, and we've kind of looked around online and noticed that this has been a problem for the past several years in that industry, with a lot of the major amusement parks being very vague about the restrictions. I guess we learned why today because of what happened with OA.
I think you might have.
But also that they're struggling to try and figure out how to best manufacture roller coasters because the size of people in the world unfortunately continues to get bigger, and they're trying to figure out how to accommodate that. This is an issue at amusement parks all over the country.
And sometimes I'm thinking too, sometimes, and this is even difficult for us to talk about because I am the last to pass judgment. I won't, because everybody has their own situation, and some people, some people may have health considerations. But with some of these, especially if you're particularly large, along with it goes things like high blood pressure or some other situations. And I think you really need to say to yourself before you get on a ride, is this a good thing for me physically? Because, and you may be a larger person and you're 100% healthy because we're all so very different. physically and in every other way. But I think you have to take some personal responsibility and say, should I be getting on this ride? Then secondly, if these rides are being constructed with maybe people of smaller size in mind, maybe they ought to consider, because a lot of these are made in Europe, and I don't think we may be a little bit on the bigger bone size over here.
Yes, we
maybe
are.
They should, we are. Maybe they should consider that when they market to America. So there's a lot that goes in here, but I think you've got to understand the position of the businesses, because if these rides come with, a warning label, if they are cavalier about it, then they could get in some big trouble as well.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I agree, and certainly.
I'm trying to get you to share so I don't get any anger directed toward me.
Well, no, I don't think
myself.
no one should be upset. Safety is the most important thing here. So I guess there has to be just maybe a little more consideration of how the safety restrictions are explained, so that people don't feel like they're people who may be sensitive because they have been excluded in the past for certain things.
Well, sure, I totally understand that, and I guess maybe there's I don't know how you say some things and still get the point across without hurting feelings.
You be vague. We've noticed, as I said, we've looked around, and a lot of it is vague. And in fact, some amusement parks have put sample seats outside so that you could try the seat before you get in line to see if you're
that's a good idea.
Capable.
Yeah.
Well,
because then if you're in line, you could be embarrassed, and nobody wants to go through that. So you're right.
Well, we've only got about a minute left, and unfortunately, we didn't get to your reality check about pet vaccinations. Is that something we can watch on your website?
Yeah, it'll be posted under the reality check category under news. So if you go to the news tab and then click reality check, it should be posted within the next few minutes. And it's just basically there's two rules of thought about vaccination. Some say you should do it every year. Some say that's too much. You could be damaging your pet. So it doesn't come up with the absolute answer, but it does give you the information you need to ask your vet about it for your own pet.
Very good. Hey, Darwin, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
I love the stimulating conversation.
Thank you, Darwin. Local 15. Look for that story at their website about the pet vaccinations. More after the news on the Uncle Henry Show.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans.